SEO0320 representing JVS. These are some residual thoughts that I have of Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 3, The Long Night. Because I had some initial thoughts before I even watched the episode, and then some people kind of like extended those thoughts after the fact. But let's try to go and balance this out. The first thought I had was, I was like, how the heck am I going to see this episode? Because, one of the biggest battles that I can recall, of course, is the Battle of the Bastards, which was well lit, during the day, and it, start from the beginning of the day, last till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And so it was never a moment that I didn't see. Whereas with this one, I was kind of just like, this is going to be completely at nighttime. Like, how well am I going to be able to see this? I know you guys filmed this for like 56 days or something like that. This is the longest battle ever. I was like, but nobody's going to be able to really appreciate it or see it, right? But in hindsight, actually watching it, the thing that I loved about this is the non-visibility, okay? So what I mean by that is, like, say you're in battle and you're there. One of the biggest things about the Battle of the Bastards is, like, you felt like you were there on the battlefield with Jon. And with this situation, you felt the same that way. There was so many times where, like, Daenerys and him were flying through the air, and, like, ice was just, like, in their face, and you couldn't see anything. They were, like, legitimately bumping into each other sometimes. And, like, not even fighting the Night King. And at the same as that time, the Night King was just coming for the neck. There were times on the battlefield, like the beginning, like the Dothraki, I was like, oh, snap, they about to go ham. All of a sudden, you see all the torches just go out, and I was just like, oh, daggone. Like, that's a scary feeling. But more than that, like, they were charging into battle to see, they couldn't see what was in front of them, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like the same exact situation, like, that's how we felt. Like, a lot of the times, like, you knew that Jaime was fighting, like, 20 or 15 of these dead men, and there was nothing that he could do about it. And, like, the only light that you had was the fire. And that visual aesthetic and that artistic aesthetic makes this so much more intense, because you knew at any moment, accidentally or forthcoming, anybody could die. You know what I'm saying? Now, there were only a certain amount of people that did die, but that's how you felt the whole entire episode. And I give them credit for it, because what they were able to do is, even with characters or things that were CGI, they still made them look like they were in the dark, which in and of itself is an intense feat. You have to think about it. Like, you had, like, dragons flying through the air that you could barely see, but these are actual CG animals. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how hard it is to actually make something that is CG, make it believable, and then make it appear like the darkness is shrouding it. Like, this is one shot where they up into the air, and I was just like, this is the pinnacle of television right now. So I appreciate and commend them for sticking to that. At first I was apprehensive about it, but I understand why. Because towards the end, like, when everybody is just like, it's fire everywhere, Winterfell is basically destroyed in ashes. Like, Jon's like dealing with the ramifications of this dragon, in which that's another good segue. The dragon sitting there just breathing fire into his face. Somebody had left a comment, was like, man, I wish Jon, would have, ended the Night King. Like, this is his battle. One of the biggest things to me that I think that Jon learned in this one is he can't always be the hero. Like, he has to depend on other people. Like, when he was in the air with Dany, like, he was having to depend on this dragon. He was having to depend on Dany to have his back. It wasn't just a matter of like, all right, I'm going to be the martyr. Like, no, like, you're depending on everybody to work together, to coordinate together, to, hold up as long as they possibly can. And that's what he had to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of just like, he didn't know whether or not Jaime was going to turn tail and run. Like, he trusted that they were going to do it. He didn't know if Brienne was going to be able to hold the line, but she did what she had to do. He didn't know if his sister could fight. He never seen his sister fight. And she did her freaking job, you know what I'm saying? And it was kind of just like, when he got knocked off of his dragon, like, some people were like, well, he didn't do anything. Like, no. All those Dothraki, like one of the fiercest warriors there are, you know what I'm saying, like got raised up in front of him. He had to fight them. No matter what their fighting style was, he had to defend himself against those said people. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, to me, this is the Battle Bastards on steroids, because not only did he have to fight his own little mini battles throughout, he had to fight his way back to Winterfell, meaning he was left there. Like, nobody sat there and just, I mean, yeah, Dany came in to give him a small path, but he still had to get back. And then when he did get back, he had to sit there and watch images of, like, Samwell getting, like, maimed and, like, injured. He saw, like, people all around, like, fighting their own little battles, all the while him trying to survive. Like, literally, Winterfell's falling, like, dead bodies are falling and coming back. And, like, he knew he had to get to the Night King. Like, his prime directive is, I have to get to this, you know, to this man. And, like, at the end of the day, like, I was kind of, like, questioning, like, John, why you getting in front of this dragon? Like, he's about to kill you. John was like, if I gotta kill this dragon and burn myself alive to do it, just to get to this man, I'm gonna do it. And that's what he was willing to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of just like, he, for the first time, in my opinion, was learning and having to, trial by fire, be a king. A king is not somebody that is the warrior, or is not the playmaker. The king has knights. The king has assassins. The king has men that are willing to bleed from whatever's happening for the preservation of the kingdom, for preservation of the nation. And that was what happened. And that was John at the epicenter of that, along with Dany. And it was like, I think that this is the best way that they could have handled it, allowing Arya to be that knight to go and take care of the Night King. Even the crazy symmetry with that is Bran, you know, in season 7, just being like, yeah, this is the dagger that's meant to kill me, but it's gonna be wasted on a cripple. You should have it. And he knew, he knew full well everybody that was there, he knew needed to be there. I just don't think, I still don't trust Bran, because I think that just like he knew that everything needed to be in place, I think that something else is required of him that needs to take place as well. And I'm not too off on that whole him connected to the Night King aspect of things. I really am not. I'm not saying he is the Night King. I just think that there's some interesting possibilities of things being connected through Bran. What else? Arya being that ace in the hole and taking out the Night King. A lot of people are upset about that. What y'all wanted to do? Y'all wanted to fight for another episode to get through the night. They've been, if you don't remember, go to episode 1 of The Walking Dead. Not The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones. The very first thing you see are these White Walkers. You don't even see him. Like I'm saying they've been fighting this man and trying to survive this man from jump. If they didn't kill the Night King this episode, none of them would have survived. None of them would have made it. I was sitting there thinking maybe they can make it back to King's Landing. They wouldn't have made it back to King's Landing. Maybe Dany or John would have made it back, but none of them would have made it at all. So it was no options there. They could have extended it to 2 episodes, but that's about it. You know what I'm saying? This was what it was. Now, granted, would I love to them just to battle it out and like the Night King to make it out and keep going? Like, yeah, that would have been dope, but I don't think it would have been any more Game of Thrones, because I think he would have won. It would have been like a battle of stalemate. It's like you don't have any more pieces on the board to sit there and survive the rest of the matches. I don't have any thoughts on Cersei or anything like that. We'll deal with that later. Only thing with that is, if I was anybody that went through that fight, I would brand Cersei as a traitor. I would have been like, yo, they abandoned us and we survived. Nah, burn them alive. burn them alive. Nah, but for real, like, I would brand her as a traitor. For real. Like, I'm like, yo, you really think you gonna press against me with some? Nah, bruh. Like, yeah, you can go. You can go, fam. So, nah, that's my thoughts on that. Like, I wouldn't. It would be zero tolerance. She needs to get hers. Like, nah. They went through way too much in this episode. Any of them could have died at any moment. Now, granted, she couldn't do anything herself, but she could at least let her force go. Like, imagine if, the mountain was out there just putting in work. This man is an undead himself, but he won't dare. So, nah, bruh, I don't got no sympathies for Cersei. She can get hers. So that's my only thoughts on that. But nah, I'm happy that Arya got that victory, man. Arya got that straight up savage victory. So I'm happy about that. I thought the episode was great. For those that wanted more or had this like hero complex for Jon, like, look, he's gonna be the king one way or another. It's not over with yet. We still got 3 episodes left. Do I have any other thoughts? I think it's only one dragon left, or is both the dragons still alive? I thought the dragon that Jon was on didn't make it. I don't know. I really don't know. Anything else? Man, RIP to everybody that died. RIP to Jorah. RIP to the women and children that died in the crypt. Daggone. RIP to Lady Mormon. The Mormons, bruh. Man, them jokers. Who else died? It was a lot, bro. RIP to old dude. The Red Witch came in clutch, I ain't gonna lie. Man, it was just a lot of deaths. Theon Greyjoy. You're a good man. Like, legitimately. Like, I'm not even joking. He's a good man. Anyway, yeah. So if you got any indiscrepancies or worries or thoughts, hopefully I covered pretty much all of them. That in my head, this was, if not their best episode they've done. Like, again, if you can look past the visual side of, seeing this in comparison to Battle of the Bastards, I think this one went harder. I really did. And this is a story. Like, they've never had a whole episode for an hour and 36 minutes just be a whole battle. Because that's exactly what this was. There was some intermissions in between sometimes, but for the most part, like, it was just non-stop, just insanity. But yeah, I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I'll talk to you guys later on. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. If you got any other thoughts, any other comments, anything else you guys want us to talk about, because we're gonna be having like a live discussion later on today with a whole group of people. Definitely leave it in the comment sections here so we can bring it up in discussion tonight. And for you Patreons, you guys got the full entire reaction and uploaded this morning. And everybody else, the 2-part reaction, like split up, that's gonna be put up probably by tomorrow evening. Might get part 1 today. I doubt it though. I got a lot of work to do. All right. Definitely keep me lifted up in your prayers. Doing a lot better. I'll talk to you guys later. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Peace, guys. Oh yeah, and one final thing, just to be fair, my TV is a OLED 4K, and the backlight, like anything that is dark, you can see the transitions pretty well, and that's not like it's not me trying to like hype up our TV or anything like that, but it is like a pretty big TV. There was never a moment I couldn't tell what was really going on. The only moment that I could see where it was kind of like so hard to tell what was going on was when Dany and Jon were flying through the ice in the air. But everybody else is like, I didn't have to change my brightness on my TV. So, I mean, maybe this will benefit like anybody like trying to push it to 4K, or if you're thinking about getting a 4K TV, maybe this will benefit, because I didn't have really any issues whatsoever. But let me know if any kind of issues, like based on your TV size, like if you had like a 42 or if you had lower, or if like you had the same size as I do, like it's pretty big, and I think I got like a 60, a 60, 60, 64, 65. Let me know if you had issues seeing it. I didn't have any issues at all. Um, but I did want to bring that up because somebody brought that up in our comment section that they could really honestly couldn't really see what was actually happening. But for the most part, I mean, like the whole entire screen for us was completely lit up. We knew exactly what was going on, even with the lights on. Like I didn't have to turn those big brights off. Now I think it'd probably look even better if I would have turned those lights off. But there was never a moment that I couldn't. So let me know in the comment section below as well. I just want to add that little tag on. But again, I stand by that they made a proper decision in making a realistic battle that was taking place in the dark. And if you can appreciate that these dragons that were flying through the air in darkness, these are 3D rendered creatures that they were made to appear going back and forth in shades of dark. That's insane. So I just don't think people really appreciate it. But they'll do a breakdown of it and they'll probably show the details behind all that. But I stand by that they made this the better decision. But again, to be fair, I brought this up before. I was worried about it, but the execution, I didn't have a problem with it because then it focused in on the only source of light was the burning and the ashes of the fellow troops and the enemies, which makes it even more impactful.